Hey everyone, welcome back to Congress Flash. Today we're diving into a powerful and emotional topic that has sparked intense debate across the country: the U.S. family separation policy at the border. We're breaking down a recent congressional hearing where Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, legal experts, and federal officials discuss the origins, legality, and human impact of this controversial practice. If you care about justice, policy, and human rights, this is a conversation you can't afford to miss. Let's get into it. The hearing
I believe that everyone is operating in good faith, and I just want us to be very careful with that. With that, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Earlier, my colleague from Maryland, Mr. Raskin, asked the panel how many people here believe that child separation is an effective policy in deterrence. And no one on the panel raised their hand. I just wanted to note that for the record, Mr. Chair. I wanted to ask a question from Professor Mukherjee. Is the United States violating or violated human rights agreements set by the United Nations in a family separation policy?
Yes. International law is clear that family unity should be prioritized.
So we, as members of the United Nations, signed on into an international human rights agreement saying very clearly that family separation is a violation of international human rights, and then we pursued a policy that violates human rights. Mr. Chair, I was looking, how did we get to this point? How did we get to this point where we take children out of mothers' and fathers' arms? And, it dated back, family separation in the way that we have seen it, where we take children away from their parents without due process, began last year under Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, but I had to dig further. And our staff dug further. But where did this start within the administration? She implemented it. And we found a memo. It dates back to April 23rd of 2018, where there was an official recommendation to, quote, pursue prosecution of all amenable adults who cross our border, quote, illegally, even though this applied to legal asylum seekers in practice, including those presenting with a family unit between ports of entry in coordination with DOJ. Here is the memo that I would like to submit to the congressional record.
What is the date of that?
It is the memorandum for the Secretary from Homeland Security.
Date?
April 23rd, 2018, subject increasing prosecutions of immigration violations.
Without objection.
And so I looked at this memo, and it seems like this is the source of it. And it seems as though, Mr. Homan, that you are the author. It says here from yourself, Kevin Michalinen, and Francis Cisna. Is this correct? Did you sign the memo?
I'd have to see what you...
I'd be happy to provide it. And we'll provide it over, but I would like to note that here it says the official recommendation. There were 3 different options presented. The third included the option for family separation. This initiative would pursue prosecution of all amenable adults, including those presenting with a family unit. Mr. Homan, your name is on this, is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation policy?
I am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
The hearing opens with a call for good faith. There's a clear attempt to keep the conversation respectful, but the gravity of what's being discussed cuts through quickly. AOC highlights a telling moment. When asked if anyone on the panel believed child separation is an effective deterrent, Not a single hand went up. Not one. That silence said everything. Professor Mukherjee steps in and confirms what many feared. The U.S. family separation policy is a direct violation of international human rights law, specifically agreements the U.S. has signed under the United Nations. The law prioritizes family unity.
And so the recommendation, of the many that you recommended family separation,
I recommend a zero tolerance.
which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Homan,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum, you go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay. Mr. Chair, the memo is submitted to the record for review. Inspector General Costello, one last thing. Is there a record, based on reports throughout the year, and in our hearing earlier this year, we spoke with Ms. Juarez, a mother who lost her child due to inhumane conditions in the facilities. We learned that there is no accurate record and no policy being held of people who are pregnant and people who endure miscarriages. Is there a record of who enters and leaves these facilities?
I'm not familiar with the instance you're talking about, but I do believe the facilities keep custody logs and logs, but I'm not familiar with the incident you're talking about.
And where would we find those records?
I believe all the facilities keep them on site, CBP and ICE facilities.
And if you believe that the records are not accessible, or if we find that the records are not accessible, do you believe the committee should seek to request records from DHS on the location of children and those that are detained?
Well, we would never opine about what the committee would request and not request, so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ms. Presley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm very proud to represent and to call the Massachusetts.
But our own policy tore families apart, sometimes without due process. This isn't just a policy failure. It's a breach of global human rights standards. So how did we even get here? AOC traces the origins back to a memo dated April 23, 2018. It was an official recommendation to prosecute all adults crossing the border, including those legally seeking asylum with children. This memo laid out several options. Option 3, family separation. And whose names were on it? Thomas Homan, Kevin Michelinen, Francis Cisna. When pressed, Homan admitted he signed the memo but tried to distance himself from authorship. Still, it's clear, the policy was endorsed at the highest levels. If you're finding this breakdown helpful so far, take a moment to hit subscribe and turn on notifications. I cover topics like this regularly: facts, analysis, and no spin. Homan defended the policy under what's called a zero-tolerance approach. He compared it to how U.S. citizens are separated from their kids when they're arrested, like in a DUI case. But here's the critical point AOC drives home. Seeking asylum is legal. These families weren't criminals. They were people fleeing danger, asking for help, and we treated them like felons. As the hearing wraps, another bombshell drops. There's no accurate or centralized record of pregnant detainees, miscarriages, or even the exact number and location of separated children. That's not just negligence. That's dangerous. It means parents and legal advocates can't even locate where these children are being held. That level of opacity demands accountability. The committee discusses whether DHS should be compelled to hand over these records. And honestly, how could we not demand transparency when human lives are at stake? This hearing wasn't just political theater. It exposed a deep, systemic failure, one that hurt thousands of families and undermined the values we claim to stand for. If this topic moved you, informed you, or made you think differently, don't forget to give the video a like and share it with someone who needs to see this. And again, hit subscribe for more deep dives like this one. Let's keep pushing for truth, justice, and real accountability. Until next time, stay informed, stay critical, and take care of each other.